How much time do you spend on average watching television? Probably quite a bit. Most Americans spend a great deal of their time in front of a television screen, but did you know that this can actually be harmful? I'm Rachel DeGan, and I believe that people should watch less television. And there is some controversy as to who actually invented the television. In the past, the feat was attributed to Vladimir Zworykin, but recent discoveries have pointed to Philo Farnsworth as the original creator of the TV. He invented it sometime in the 1920s, probably the late 1920s. Over the years, television has changed immensely, getting more high definition and allowing for the hundreds of channels that we now have. In this day and age, television has an important role in our community. Almost everyone has a television, and even those who don't can access one fairly easily. Studies have shown that most people watch television more than they do any other activity, besides sleeping and working. With something so prevalent in our society, it is obvious that it will have effects. An experiment was conducted in Canada using a town that had recently acquired television signal. In this experiment, they used children from before the television came and 2 years after. The results were somewhat shocking. It was shown that second graders were twice as aggressive after the television came as before. Not just physically, but verbally as well. Nothing had changed in the school, but the fact that the students now watched television. Reading was another thing affected by the TV. If a child could already read, then there was very little change. But if they were still learning to read, then their reading ability dropped drastically. Because the television took up so much of their reading time, there were less time to develop their reading skills. We see the effects of television on our children. I'm surprised that so few people have taken actions to prevent future harm. I know that it is not possible or advisable to cut all television from our lives, but it would be not too difficult to at least lessen it. Instead of coming home from school or work and plopping down in front of the television, picking up a book or doing a puzzle would be more productive and healthier. If people knew the harm that too much television holds for them, then they would be much more careful to limit themselves to a decent amount. Your daily consumption of television should not exceed 2 hours. The first step to fixing the problem is to admitting that it exists. By simply lessening your TV watching time, you could potentially change your life for the better. Get up and do something that is productive and energizing. In conclusion, a small amount of TV is fine, but too much can be harmful. Because of Philo Farnsworth, we have a wonderful device that allows us to be entertained, informed, and even taught. This device, however, is not always good all the time. We must limit our television watching to an appropriate level. A Canadian study showed that when children spent too much time in front of a television screen, then their reading skills went down and their aggression levels went up. If we were able to cut most of our TV time from our lives, then I'm sure we could lead much more productive and involved lives. My challenge to you today is that you should limit yourself to 2 hours of television at the most. Trying to read a story or complete a project. See the difference it makes in your life. And my sources for this that I got my information from was the Farnsworth Chronicles from Paul Schatzkins, and also The Impact of Television, A Natural Experiment in 3 Communities by Tanis Macbeth Williams, and then also Human Communications in Society by Albert Nakayama and Thomas and Martin. Now, I thank you for listening today, and I hope that this speech is beneficial in your life, and have a wonderful day. And start.